All right, click the links for Odyssey, Bit Chute, join the channel, become a valued member, or go to Telegram or Sport Channel News, subscribe, start coffee, the various other links. So, Oscars, so savage. How dare you? How dare you, sir? How dare you criticize the Oscars? Don't you know it was a black production team? Yeah, that's kind of an L. Sometimes you just have to take the L with Will Smith. I don't think the production team had anything to do with it. Though I was listening to Act Nation last night, and he says he thought it did have something to do with it, which he had his own, you can you can find his own video last night. He's fascinating to listen to. He's kind of hard on that situation. I don't know if I go that far. Here's the thing, there are people in Hollywood who are coming out and criticizing Will Smith, which means more than you think. Like most people on the sidelines, you go like, oh yeah, Will Smith, what a violent idiot. It's like, that's unacceptable. Respond to words with violence. It's like, yeah, that's how normal people think. Hollywood is doing this calculus in their head of Will Smith, POC. On the other hand, you kind of balance that off by he's worth $1 trillion. But then you kind of balance that off with like, oh, do we really want to go down this route of normalizing violence against comedians? And then you're taking the shine away from the Academy Awards. And that's kind of the bigger situation, is Hollywood is nothing if they aren't narcissists. Insane levels of they want the spotlight on them all the time. And so you think about the Academy Awards last night or 2 nights ago. What happened? Will Smith got on stage and he attacked some guy. Oh, but what about everyone else? Who else won? It's like, oh, yeah, I kind of forgot about that part. Like, other people also got awards for movies and, a bunch of other things. Like, Denzel Washington was presenting some award, either presenting or winning some awards. Like, everyone kind of, I guess he was presenting. Everybody kind of likes him, right? It's like, oh, yeah, that should probably be part of the story, too. It's like, oh, yeah, no, we just know that Will Smith attacked Chris Rock. Which, credit to Chris Rock, his ticket sales are going through the roof because you got to double down if you're Chris Rock. You have to double down. You cannot just be a pussy and shy away from it. I didn't even know Chris Rock was still doing stand-up, so credit to him for that. And people who are saying, oh, yeah, it's fake, they're actors, they're scripted. Here's the thing. There's Hollywood acting, which involves a lot of different camera angles, sets, editing, and a lot of different takes to get through scenes. I don't know what you call like playwright acting, like Shakespeare stuff. Well, that stuff's all done in one take. These guys aren't live actors. They're Hollywood actors. So they do things in takes. So if you think they could get that scene correct in one take with the emotion and even the blocking and the walking and the physical body movements, there's so much that goes into a production that neither one of them are good enough actors. Like that Will Smith he's an okay actor, though he kind of just plays Will Smith. In case you don't know, he's the guy who played Men in Black, which he was excellent in, and Independence Day, which he was pretty good in. But even in Independence Day, it's like, yeah, I'm totally dating myself. And the thing is, the stuff that came after that, it's like kind of forgettable. Even in Independence Day, it's like he played Will Smith a bit too much. He just, like, I'm the cocky, cool guy, but he's not. Like, that was part of the thing that kind of came across in Men in Black, is that he wasn't as cool as he thought he was, which I think came across better in Men in Black Part 2, which was a different take on it. But okay, so people in Hollywood are not as on board this. They're not just signing off on, well, it was certainly a lot of emotion. We hope next year is more constrained. They're coming out and saying, yeah, Will Smith should not have done that. And some people are even saying he should have been arrested, he should have been removed. Because it does a lot of things. Like, it takes the attention away from everyone else, but more importantly, it takes the shine off of Hollywood. By that, I mean, all this is made possible, these $100,000 swag bags that they got. It's just kind of this year I probably would have foregone that kind of extravagance. A little out of touch. He bides up on stage and says, yeah, it's going to be a hungry, after the winter of death and discontent, which never really materialized. We're going to be short of food because of Putin. And that's why gas prices are going up, because of Putin. Though, I mean, they were kind of going up as soon as Biden took office, because not a whole lot of confidence in Biden, so says the market. Anyway, so for Hollywood to come out and criticize Will Smith is something huge, because he's a black dude. And it's a black production, and Chris Rock's a black guy, though. I mean, none of it was his fault. That was some G.I. Jane reference, really, really effing mild. That was a mild joke. And who's his wife, his whore wife? Big filthy whore for sure. Still pretty good looking at 50. I'm sure when she was younger, she was probably a smoking stone cold fox. She shaved her head because she's got a little line of missing hair. It's just not a big deal. People lose their hair. You mean men? Well, apparently nobody knows what a man or a woman is. Millions of people lose their hair every year. It's not a big deal. Even for her, it's like it was this tiny little line. None of that should have been a big deal. Chris Rock was he's working the crowd. Like, they hired him because he's a stand-up comic. And so he has to work the crowd. And so someone pointed out on Twitter, he goes, that's part of what Hollywood does when they have the comic make fun of some of the people in the audience, is that it takes some of the sting out of, you're seeing these insanely wealthy, privileged, insufferable, smarmy, just fucking douchebags in Hollywood. And so the comic on stage is taking some of the piss out of these wealthy people, taking them down a peg to make it more palatable for the audience when you're, you're watching it in your apartment or your trailer or, whatever. You want to see how the other side lives, and these $1 million movies and this class and elegance and grace, and it's all this illusion. Yeah, we know it's bread and circuses and it's skin deep, but you got to at least maintain the illusion. And if you're not willing to do that, all this is made possible because of those people who are paying $15 to go see a movie. Maybe in the big cities it's more, but around here it's not. They're paying for it all. It's like all this, the $100,000 swag bags, it's all made possible because of movie aficionados who are going to see the movies, and they're buying the DVDs. I don't know, that's dating. Probably only Blu-rays, or they're buying the digital downloads and crap. All this is made possible because of them. And when you start to insult them, you start to, like, these millionaires are up on stage. Amy Schumer, she did a bit where she says, I'm just the annoying white girl. Amy Schumer is the annoying Amy. Okay, Amy. That was a little bit hard to take. And about half of you know what that means, and half don't, but that's enough to get by the algorithm. I mean, that's just getting that story's getting a little old. Like, people are kind of like, you probably want to dial that back. Probably for everyone's sake, it's probably way past time to dial that back. To dial back millionaires lecturing people people living in shitty apartments or trailer parks, lecturing them about their privilege from literal millionaires who were only made possible because of people going to see their movies. That's a bit hard to take too. I mean, you want to dial that back stuff too, that back too, but they can't. They can't. They can't dial any of it back. Anyway, it's like the lack of self-awareness with Hollywood is fucking staggering. Anyway, so people are criticizing, like other actors. Who's that girl who played Catwoman in the last Batman, which sucked fucking donkey nuts. God, that was horrible. She came out and criticized. She goes, so we're assaulting people on stage now? Here's the thing, it's kind of nuanced, because a lot of people who are criticizing it, one, Jim Carrey is a comic, and some other comics, even Howard Stern is coming out, like the comics are coming out and saying, like, yeah, you can't normalize violence against comics. And it's not just that, it's like the Academy hired Chris Rock to work the crowd, to take some of the piss out of the audience. That was all, like, this is all on the table, and so now you're saying, like, you're going to make that not possible. So what Will Smith did was kind of, like, he took a lot of the shine out of Hollywood, and that's why people are going to Hollywood. That's why they're paying $15 for a ticket. They're paying, I don't know, $30 to buy the, quote unquote, buy a streaming thing. It's like, you don't really own it unless you own the hard media or you put it on an external hard drive. It's like all they're buying this illusion of class, grace, and elegance of this kind of old Hollywood. Like, this is old Hollywood. All this is. When did old Hollywood transfer into new Hollywood? 1990, I'll say. Like, and I can't really point to anything. I'll just say that was a feeling of a shift of changing the guard. Was like the old Hollywood. They had probably aged out of all the roles by before 1990, but even in 1990, you knew who they were. They were still an important part of Hollywood. They still might go to these events and things like this in the 80s and 90s. But like, yeah, they were definitely out of the roles because the movies you're talking about were like the 40s, 50s, 60s. That would be kind of, I would say the 40s and 50s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. I don't know, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s would be peak Hollywood of where they really mastered the illusion of, and yeah, obviously it's an illusion of this just otherworldly grace and elegance. And we know behind the scenes, it's like, yeah, they're not eating. There's a picture of Lauren Bacall and Audrey Hepburn at some Oscar award, and they both look like they weigh 105 pounds. You know, just model thin, like whatever goes on behind the scenes. You know, a little powder in their noses to stay lean. It doesn't matter because it's all this illusion that is only made possible because people are paying for it. And once you make it look like the WWF, I don't think the audience is gonna switch, but I think you're gonna lose the big bell curve part of the audience. They're gonna look like, oh, this isn't, you know what it felt like? Okay, here's what it felt like. From the 90s, after the 90s, it felt like you slowly started transitioning away from the big screen, larger than life energy down to smaller and smaller screen. And maybe the VHS, the invention that, Beta and VHS had the two inventions that kind of started taking Hollywood away from the big screen, putting it in your living room. And now it's like everything's going to be streaming now. So I don't know if I think theaters are taking a huge hit because there's a lot of people who are never going to go back and sit for, 2 hours in a theater wearing an N95 or something. That's probably just not going to happen. So, like, you don't, and then with Will Smith stuff, it's like you took all the grace and elegance out of this illusion. You took the illusion away, and you saw people who were just behaving like thugs, and nobody wants to see that. And I think I think that's why you saw so many people in Hollywood who were willing to step up and say, even though Will Smith's a blackish dude, to step up and say, yeah, he should have been arrested for that, or he should have been escorted out, or something should have happened. It's like he shouldn't have been able to get an award and cry after walking up on stage, hitting someone, and then sitting down and then swearing profanity. It's like, that's not what we have, this illusion of the Oscars, and that's not what I think people are on board with. People are on board with beautiful people selling this stardust. And when you take that away, you're left with like the WWE with Vince McMahon. He could be next year's presenter, which would probably be funny. You know what I'm saying? Am I making any sense? Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next episode.